Right, after another weekend of awful weather, you've probably had enough of Wellingtons, but Phil Vickery's about to change your mind with this. His beef Wellington.
Great link.
That's not where it comes from, though. It's Wellington, isn't it?
Wellington.
Yes.
Yes.
Not a Wellington boot Wellington.
Here it is. But there's hundreds of different explanations of how this dish came around. One was it's meant to mimic the trunk of a Wellington boot. One was that it was the Duke of Wellington and some famous battle.
I thought it was the Duke of Wellington.
But I heard that Chris Dixon Wright actually said that it was something to do with Wellington, New Zealand, the place in New Zealand.
Oh, OK.
So
the capital of New Zealand.
Yeah, so I'm thinking there's some sort of connection. I don't know. Anyway,
who cares?
But it's one
tastes nice.
One of these dishes which is very, very simple to do or very simple to get
and very
wrong.
posh.
Very posh. And it is. I make no excuse for that. It is quite an expensive dish. You can make Wellingtons with different things. You know, you can make it with perhaps a loin of pork, for instance. You can take all the fat off. So you can make a slightly less. Well, I shouldn't use the word cheap, but a cheaper version. Yeah,
a budget version.
Better value for money.
Yes.
Nice.
Anyway, so what I've got here is this is a piece of fillet beef. This is middle fillet. So on a fillet beef, you have the head end, which up here, which has the Chateaubriand, which is where the muscle is and goes into. Up here somewhere, best I can describe it. The tail goes down to the loin. So the tail is generally used for things like stroganoff, that sort of thing. But the middle cut fillet is what you want. It is the best. And probably less than 1% fat on it. I mean, it's incredibly good for you. Right. What you must do is season the piece of meat and roast it really hard in a pan, or brown it very, very hard in a pan like this. So you can see this one here.
So you plunk it in and you rotate it and rotate it. It's all lovely and brown all around. The
brown you get at this point, the less juice will come out. Some will come out still, it doesn't stop it, but it makes the pastry much crisper on the inside. Now, when we were cooking, we used to roast them the day before, put them on wire racks and put them in a walk-in fridge to let them dry out slightly.
That's a good idea.
Yes, we don't all have walk-in fridges,
No, we don't, darling.
But you could just put it in your own fridge, couldn't you, with a plate underneath it?
Absolutely. If you can do that the day before, all the better. You don't have to do it, but that's the best way of doing it. Now, the next part is the stuffing. Now, we used to make our stuffing in a mixer like this. So, here I've got onions and I've got a little bit of garlic, which I'll come back to in a second, some tomato puree and mushrooms. So, literally whiz these up. OK, you then add your mushrooms. There you go. You can chop it by hand. We used to mince it, but I'll tell you what, life's too short. So just blitz this right up until you get a really nice puree like that. You then... a little bit of hot oil.
Are you going to cook it?
Yeah, you cook it down. We're getting rid of the moisture. This is what I said about the fillets earlier.
Otherwise it will all have soggy pastry.
Exactly. And bear in mind, the mushroom's 98% water. So what we want is the mushroom flavour, but without the moisture.
On?
What?
Is that on?
It was earlier, but I'll turn it off.
Oh, I see.
We haven't got a chance to talk about that. Then, once that's cooked down, you add tomato puree. A little bit of garlic, that goes in as well.
Cook down to what acceptable state?
I'll show you in a second. OK. You just cook it. What will happen is the water will come out...
for shut up.
It's like working with my wife.
Sorry.
And then you just cook that down, cook it down and down and down and down. And in the end, you'll end up with this.
Ah, there we are.
Look at that.
That goes down to hardly anything, but you have an intense flavour.
That looks like dark sugar.
Yeah. Have a little taste of that. You'll just taste... There's no salt and pepper in that.
Not much in there.
No, but it's an intense flavour. Now, the original Wellington...
That is intense.
We used to...
Nice.
Wrap round the fillet. I don't do that anymore because I find the bottom goes soggy.
Yeah.
Then you add a little bit of this.
What is that?
This is a bit of Brussels pâté. Anywhere you buy, that goes in as well. That gives a lovely meaty edge to it.
Yeah.
And I also add just a few breadcrumbs just to make it slightly firmer as well. And you make up a beautiful paste like that.
Yum.
OK, I'll put this over here now.